Have you ever felt as though something invisible is preventing your blessings from coming true, even when you pray intensely and live with devotion? This feeling that mysterious forces are working against you is not just a figment of your imagination. The esteemed Padre Pio, one of the greatest saints of recent times, known for his stigmata and the gift of bilocation, left a powerful warning about a simple object, but one of immense spiritual value: the Medal of Saint Benedict. You may have seen this small gold or silver medal marked with enigmatic symbols. However, what you probably don't know is the extraordinary spiritual power it carries, with effects that can be both wonderful and challenging for your life. What will be revealed below can completely change your view of spiritual protection and the invisible battle that takes place around you every day. Padre Pio, who faced demons on a personal level and had the gift of seeing beyond physical reality, shared profound teachings about this sacramental that many still do not fully understand. It is not just a religious symbol, but a true weapon of spiritual defense, which according to Padre Pio himself is more feared by the devil than exorcism itself. In this story, you will discover the secrets of this medal and how to use it correctly to transform your home into a haven of serenity and protection. But first, it is important to emphasize, this teaching is not common. What Padre Pio revealed about the Medal of Saint Benedict goes beyond the usual instructions we hear in churches. It is knowledge preserved by those who truly understand the daily spiritual battle we face. If you feel ready to embrace this revelation, proceed with an open heart and keen attention. Some may find these truths controversial, but those who apply them with faith and respect will see profound transformations in their lives. Prepare yourself for a journey of spiritual discovery that can redefine the course of your existence. For centuries, the Medal of Saint Benedict has been quietly passed down among devotees as a protective amulet. You may have noticed this medal on chains, hanging on doors, or even buried in gardens. However, few know its true origin and the significance of its power. When Saint Benedict was facing intense temptations in the desert, a shining cross appeared before him, dispelling all evil visions. This extraordinary event gave rise to the symbols present on the current medal. Each letter and sign engraved on this small metal disc represents a specific prayer against evil. Padre Pio, in his spiritual meditations, often emphasized that this medal is not just a religious emblem, but a true spiritual shield shaped by centuries of prayers, blessings, and mystical experiences. What makes this teaching so impactful is the revelation that the medal acts on 3 levels at the same time: on the physical plane, in the spiritual realm, and in the innermost being of the one who wears it with faith. In his letters, the saint from Pietrelcina explained that the medal does not function as a magical talisman, but rather as a channel of divine grace, which requires conscious involvement. He said it is like a key that only works if you know how to use it. This reveals a fundamental aspect. The effectiveness of the Saint Benedict medal is closely linked to the internal posture and practical attitudes of the person who carries it. Many people have it at home, but never experience its effects because they ignore the 3 essential principles for activating it fully. You may wonder why such a powerful object is not more addressed in contemporary religious teachings. The answer, according to Padre Pio, lies in the fact that we live in times of intense spiritual warfare, in which evil forces work tirelessly to hide the most effective instruments of combat. In one of his visions, Padre Pio saw demons trying to keep people from fully understanding this sacramental. They fear the medal more than any ordinary prayer, he said. This is because it represents both the cross of Christ and the holy life of Saint Benedict, who triumphed over the enemy in every temptation. This dual spiritual authority is what makes the medal so extraordinarily potent, and also why knowledge about it is often misrepresented or minimized. Having a medal of Saint Benedict in your home is no trivial gesture. It is a spiritual pact with concrete effects. Padre Pio seriously warned, by bringing this medal into your home, you establish a spiritual connection that will attract the attention of both beneficent forces and dark influences. It is like lighting a torch in the darkness. It illuminates, but it also makes itself visible to everything that dwells in the shadows. Many report that when they introduced the medal into their homes, they experienced an initial period of turbulence, as if something resisted its presence. Padre Pio explained this as the natural reaction of the negative energies that were already being exposed and confronted by the power of the sacramental. The Italian mystic observed three types of experiences among families who wore the medal. With reverence and conscious practice, it became a channel of graces. Chronic illnesses improved. Family relationships became more harmonious, and peace was established. When treated with neglect or as superstition, it remained inactive, like a powerful lamp never connected to energy. For those who wore it without spiritual preparation, there was a temporary intensification of problems, as if the light from the medal revealed areas that needed healing and purification. At this moment, you are faced with an important decision. Now that you understand that the Saint Benedict medal is not just a religious ornament, but a spiritual tool with real impacts, you need to choose whether you are ready to accept it responsibly. If you believe that this knowledge can transform your life and make your home a sanctuary of blessings, write in the comments, "I am ready to receive this blessing," and subscribe to the channel to receive other profound teachings like this. Padre Pio said that the first step to attracting divine graces is to recognize, with humility, our need for spiritual protection. This may be the time to take that step with courage. By deciding to follow a path of authentic faith, you join countless believers who have already experienced the renewing power of this sacramental when used correctly. The first foundation for activating the power of the Saint Benedict medal, according to Padre Pio's instructions, is the spiritual understanding of its symbols and prayers. You could look at this medal every day and still not realize that you are looking at a true spiritual compendium, full of hidden meanings condensed in images and letters. On the front, Saint Benedict is shown holding the cross and the Book of Rules, a symbolic representation of the harmony between active life and contemplation. Around the image, the initials CSPB indicate Crux Sancti Patris Benedicti, the cross of the Holy Father Benedict, a clear reminder that all true protection emanates from the cross of Christ. The reverse of the medal hides a powerful exorcism formula in the form of an acrostic. Expressions such as Vad retur Satana and Ipse venena bibas are part of an ancient prayer that orders the evil one to leave and reject all his temptations. For Padre Pio, simply understanding the meaning of these signs is already a step towards manifesting protection. This knowledge, however, should not be limited to the mind. It must descend to the heart and become inner wisdom. He taught that by delving deeper into the meaning of each symbol on the medal, you establish a direct connection with the spiritual authority of Saint Benedict and with the blessings accumulated over the centuries through this sacramental. It is as if you were connecting to a continuous spiritual current that flows from ancient times to the present. The mind that understands, said Padre Pio, forms a protective field around the soul, even before any external action. To apply this first pillar, dedicate yourself to studying and contemplating the signs on the medal. Don't just read about them, but meditate on their spiritual value. Imagine that each symbol is a key that opens a specific door of protection. Padre Pio instructed his devotees to spend a few minutes each day touching the medal and mentally concentrating on the meaning of each letter. By doing this consciously, your fingers become instruments of spiritual activation. Many have reported feeling a subtle energy or warmth after beginning this practice, the first indications of its spiritual effectiveness. The second pillar is true consecration. Having a rare or antique medal is useless if it is not properly blessed. Padre Pio was emphatic. Without the priestly blessing, the medal is like a switched-off device. It seems complete but is disconnected from its source. Consecration is not just an external rite, but an act of spiritual binding in which a priest, using the prayers of the Roman ritual, invokes the authority of the Church so that the object becomes a channel of divine grace. Unfortunately, many do not pay attention to this and carry medals without ever having received this essential blessing. Furthermore, consecration does not end with the priest's gesture. It continues through one's own faith and reverence. Padre Pio said that even a properly consecrated medal loses its power if it is treated with neglect. The medal is like a flame lit by the Church, he taught. To stay alight, it needs the fuel of your faith. Those who have stopped seeing the medal as a mere talisman and have begun to treat it as a living sign of their alliance with the sacred have reported concrete changes in their spiritual life. To experience this second pillar, Make sure that your metal has been blessed by a priest with the appropriate prayers. If in doubt, do not hesitate to ask for it to be consecrated again. This can be done as many times as necessary. In addition, perform your own personal consecration. Hold the metal between your hands in prayer, raise your intention to heaven, and declare that you wish to honor it as an instrument of divine protection. Padre Pio suggested repeating this gesture at each new moon as a way of renewing your spiritual commitment. This habit, according to him, reinforces your inner pact and keeps alive the chain of blessings that accompanies the metal. The third and final pillar consists of the strategic application of the metal in your life and space. Without this practical aspect, all knowledge and consecration lose much of their effectiveness. Placing the metal in key points of the house is not superstition, but an act of spiritual wisdom. Padre Pio advised positioning it in the four main corners of the land, establishing a perimeter of protection. Doors and windows should also be marked, as they are not only physical but also spiritual entryways. He said that the entrances to the house correspond to the entrances to the body, and for this reason, they must be especially protected. Several people report that after applying these instructions, they felt an immediate change in the energy of the environment, as if an invisible weight had disappeared. But the metal's use goes beyond physical space. It can and should be deliberately activated in times of tribulation. Padre Pio recommended holding the metal during crises, temptations, or fears, reciting aloud the phrase, "Ejus in obitu nostro praesentia muniamur." May we be sustained by his presence at the hour of our death. This invocation brings the presence of Saint Benedict almost instantly. To apply this principle, do a spiritual survey of your home. Note places where there is recurring tension, feelings of discomfort, or constant conflict. These points require special attention. Padre Pio also recommended placing the metal under the mattress of children or people who struggle with insomnia or nightmares. During sleep, he said, our spiritual vulnerability increases, and the metal acts as a silent guardian. Carry a metal with you daily, not as a superstition, but as a tangible reminder of your choice to live under the light of divine protection. Many sincere people who have done this say they have refined their spiritual perception, avoiding negative places and situations with greater clarity. By properly applying the three fundamentals of Padre Pio's instructions on the Medal of Saint Benedict, you will gain insight into the concrete effects of protection that are in effect in your life. These are not the fruit of imagination or mere chance, but authentic expressions of the spiritual power that has been awakened. The first and most frequent sign noticed is a perceptible change in the spiritual climate of the home. Visitors, even if unaware of the presence of the metals, often mention a feeling of serenity upon entering the space. Padre Pio explained that this occurs because the spiritual frequency of the place is high, making it hostile to negative influences. He said that the air in a protected space becomes light and revitalizing for those with good intentions, but uncomfortable for those with bad intentions. Many followers noticed that individuals who previously caused imbalance began to move away or change their attitudes in a positive way. The second concrete sign of protection reveals itself during the residents' sleep. Frequent nightmares tend to disappear, giving way to more peaceful and uplifting dreams. Padre Pio explained that this happens because the metal forms a protective field that blocks harmful spiritual influences, which are normally present during rest. Even more notable are reports of dreams with messages or warnings, dreams that offer guidance or warnings after the metal is worn correctly. Saint Benedict was known to receive heavenly visitations during his moments of rest, and according to the Saint of Pietrelcina, those who wear the metal with faith can also be blessed with this type of guidance. Several believers report receiving answers to personal dilemmas or warnings about imminent dangers, showing that the protection offered goes beyond the defensive aspect, also reaching spiritual guidance. The third sign, perhaps the most transformative, manifests itself in the strengthening of spiritual sensitivity and the ability to discern what is good or harmful. You may notice greater clarity in your decisions and a sharper perception of the energies around you. Padre Pio called this illumination of the inner gaze, a natural result of living in a spiritually clean space. With less spiritual interference, the soul aligns more easily with the higher vibrations of discernment. This clarity translates into practical attitudes. better choice of friends, professional decisions more aligned with one's purpose, and even avoiding situations or people that would later prove to be harmful. Many have reported having followed this instinct and saved themselves great suffering. Despite the many fruits that the Saint Benedict medal can provide, Padre Pio always warned about the serious risks of its improper use. It is essential to understand that it is not an automatic talisman. The most common and dangerous mistake is to treat it as a magical object that would work without the proper spiritual life. Using the medal without genuine faith, the Father said, is like handing a powerful weapon to a child. Instead of protecting, it can turn against the wearer. Several testimonies report an increase in inner conflicts when the medal was acquired with this superficial view, as if it exposed internal wounds, forcing confrontation with neglected spiritual truths. Another serious risk is the practice of accumulating medals thoughtlessly. It may seem logical to think that the more, the better, but Padre Pio emphasized that the opposite is true. A single medal, worn with understanding, blessing, and devotion, is infinitely more effective than dozens treated as adornments. This is because each consecrated medal establishes a spiritual connection that demands attention and care. Accumulating medals without reverence can cause spiritual disorganization, leading to mental confusion, constant insecurity, and even inexplicable fears. Many devotees have noticed immediate improvement when they reduce their medals to a few, but meaningful ones. The third and perhaps most profound danger is the use of the medal with spiritual vanity or a sense of superiority. The medal does not make you superior to anyone. It is a personal aid in your spiritual journey. Padre Pio lamented seeing people become arrogant after adopting the medal, judging others or disdaining different practices. This is, according to him, the enemy's final blow, transforming a symbol of light into an instrument of separation. This deviation can manifest itself as an excessive attachment to external rituals, neglecting true inner conversion, or as a tendency to blame the absence of the medal for other people's problems. There are reports of people who, upon falling into this error, began to experience isolation and social withdrawal, a sign that the energy of the medal was being distorted. And so we come to the heart of Padre Pio's teachings on this sacramental, an invitation to profound transformation. The medal is not only a shield against evil, but a call to raise one's spiritual frequency. According to him, the medal works by attunement. It repels that which contradicts its holiness, while at the same time transforming the wearer so that he or she becomes incompatible with evil. This inner transformation is the true purpose of the medal, far beyond simply repelling adversity. Many devotees report intense changes in their personality after months of conscious use. Serenity where there was irritation, forgiveness where there was resentment, courage where fear once dominated. True protection, the Saint of Pietrelcina taught, arises from the alignment between your soul and the principles that the medal represents. You are called to embody the virtues of Saint Benedict: discernment, balance, peace, and firmness in the face of evil. The medal, said Padre Pio, is like a constant reflection of who you are called to be. This process of spiritual maturation is not instantaneous, but develops step by step, like a journey of inner cleansing and strengthening. The most striking testimonies come from those who have faithfully persevered for years, and they report that situations that were once devastating have had minimal impact, as if an invisible fortress had been built not only around them, but within them. Padre Pio's final appeal is that you not be satisfied with just the external graces of the medal. Seek your highest purpose, he said. It is not enough to be under protection, you must become protection. This is the pinnacle of the teaching, the medal as an instrument for your own transfiguration, so that you can become a channel of healing and light for others. When this stage is reached, the medal has already fulfilled much of its role. You become, so to speak, a living medal, someone whose presence wards off evil and attracts grace. Do not wait for an ideal moment to begin this path. The simple fact that you are faced with these words is already a sign that you are ready to take this essential step. The Medal of Saint Benedict waits to reveal its mysteries to those who seek it with sincerity and commitment. The time to transform your life, your home, and your spiritual destiny is now.